Why is the Euphrates River drying up a sign of the end of the world? What does John's prophecy reveal? And what is the relationship between the Euphrates River and the Revelation 16:12? In addition, what horrific discovery has been made following the drying up of the Euphrates that has shocked everyone? Want to know what's going on? Then watch the video until the end. Since the Euphrates River passes through Turkey, Syria, and Iraq, it is not only a prominent geographical feature in the Bible, but also an important and useful resource in the Middle East. For much of its history, this region was known as the Fertile Crescent. During the course of the last several years, there has been a significant reduction in the amount of water that is present in the Euphrates River. As a result of the Euphrates River's drying up, several ancient ruins and a cave have become accessible. Some individuals are eager to refer to the drying riverbed as a fulfillment of the predictions about the end of the times found in the Bible. There are two passages in the Bible that foretell the Euphrates River's eventual drying up. The first prophecy is a portion of a much longer oracle that is directed at Babylon. God issues a verdict of judgment against the leaders and wise men of Babylon, as well as against the city's warriors, false prophets, horses and chariots, and wealth. After then, God utters, "A drought on her waters, they will dry up, for it is a land of idols, idols that will go mad with terror." Both the Euphrates and the Tigris rivers provided water for the city of Babylon. The rivers have completely dried up at this point. Are we presently living through the events that Jeremiah prophesied would come to pass? The second prophecy that the Euphrates River will stop flowing comes as part of the 7 bowl judgments that are described in Revelation. The judgments that take place during the 7 years of the tribulation began with the 7 seals, continue with the 7 trumpets, and conclude with the 7 bowls. The bowl judgments come at the end of the tribulation, and they are so devastating that if they were to continue, every human life on earth would be extinguished. The Euphrates River will cease to flow as a result of the 6th and penultimate bowl judgment that will take place during the tribulation. According to the book of Revelation, chapter 16, verse 12, the 6th angel poured out his bowl on the great river Euphrates, and its water was dried up to prepare the way for the kings from the east. This prophecy not only specifies the judgment, but it also explains why the judgment will take place, to clear a path for a large army coming from the east to cross the Euphrates without opposition. The next step is a gathering of the kings of the earth at the place that is named Armageddon in Hebrew. At that time, Jesus will come back, and the war that will be fought at Armageddon will result in the total destruction of all of God's adversaries. The drying up of the Euphrates River is a significant occurrence that takes place in the time leading up to Armageddon. Are we currently living through the beginning stages of the fulfillment of a significant prophecy regarding the end times? There are a few different scenarios that could play out in relation to the prophecy made by Jeremiah that the Euphrates River will become dry. So let's see what are those. The first scenario is that the prophecy was realized in 539 BC during a military campaign commanded by Cyrus, monarch of the Persian Empire, which resulted in the conquest of Babylon. According to the ancient Greek historian Herodotus, Cyrus rerouted a sufficient amount of water from the Euphrates River so that his army could pass via the underground passageways and enter the city. The second one is that the prophecy was realized at an unspecified point in time, when there was a drought. Third scenario is likely that the prophecy is being carried out right now, as the Tigris and the Euphrates rivers are both beginning to shrink. Next is that the prophecy will be realized during the time of the Great Tribulation, which coincides with the 6th bowl judgment described in Revelation 16. The last scenario is that the prophecy will be fulfilled not just once in the past, but also once in the future, at the periods that are just before the end. The flow of the river has fallen by more than 60% over the course of the last century as a result of dams and irrigation projects in Turkey, Syria, and Iraq, according to a study conducted by the University of Arizona. In addition to this, there is a mysterious force that has led it to increase, which nobody is able to explain. This dramatic fall in flow has had a huge impact on the region, leading to water shortages and negatively affecting the livelihoods of those who rely on the river for activities such as agriculture and fishing. The apparent drying up of the Euphrates River is an obvious fulfillment of biblical prophecy and a sign that we need to be prepared for the return of Jesus Christ. According to Matthew 24:44, "Therefore you also be ready, for the Son of Man is coming at an hour you do not expect." The prophecy made by John, according to which the Euphrates River will become completely dry, will one day be realized. There is no connection between the current drying up of the Euphrates River and the prophecy found in Revelation 16:12 for the following reasons. First, the reason is that the sixth bowl judgment takes place quite close to the conclusion of the tribulation. In the time leading up to the sixth bowl, the Antichrist will ascend to power, the two prophets who can perform miracles will prophesy, and a great number of severe judgments will take place. We are not now enduring the affliction. Second is that the passages in Revelation 18:17-19 indicate that in the end times, Babylon will do a significant amount of business via ship. This indicates that the rivers in that region will, at the very least, continue to flow freely during the tribulation. And the last reason that can be considered is that the miraculous drying up of the Euphrates River in Revelation 16:12 makes it possible for an army coming from the east to move toward the west. There is no such army currently posing a threat to Israel. The Euphrates River will, in point of fact, be completely dry when the time comes for the Battle of Armageddon. There is no connection between Revelation 16:12 and the current water level of the Euphrates, the exposure of ruins and caves, or anything else of the sort. That just has not taken place up to this point. But the rivers Euphrates and Tigris, whose levels have been dropping, have revealed previously submerged archaeological sites. So let's see what they reveal. Several archaeological and ancient sites that were buried beneath the two historic rivers in Syria, Iraq, and Turkey have been rediscovered in recent years as a result of the decline in water levels that has occurred over the past few decades. Recent drops in water levels at the lake, created by the Euphrates Dam in eastern Syria, have made it possible to examine a sizable archaeological burial site. From the Wadi Sal al-Khashab and Shams al-Din region in the northwestern countryside of Raqqa, all the way to the administrative border between Raqqa and Aleppo, the site, which dates back to the Byzantine civilization in the Raqqa province, sprawls over large areas in the eastern bank of the Euphrates Dam, also known as Tapka Dam Lake. It was established in the Raqqa province during the time of the Byzantine civilization. The decline in water levels of the Euphrates and Tigris that has occurred over the course of the last 3 years has allowed for the exposure of a great number of archaeological sites that were previously buried by the waters of these two rivers, which flow through Syria, Iraq, and Turkey. Over the course of the last few years, the water level in the Euphrates River has dropped to perilously low levels. The flow of water from Turkey into Syrian territory is less than 200 cubic meters per second, which is less than half of the quantity that Turkey and Syria agreed upon in 1987. The Euphrates riverbed witnessed 6 historical eras, including the Sumerian, Akkadian, Assyrian, Greek, and Byzantine eras, in addition to the Islamic era. Abdul Razak al-Aliawi, an engineer and former director of Syria's maintenance department for the Euphrates River, told Al-Monitor. Al-Aliawi was the former director of Syria's maintenance department for the Euphrates River. He believed that the construction of dams in the first place was an unjust decision. In 1968, under the leadership of Youssef Zain, the Syrian government constructed the Euphrates Dam without first rerouting the Euphrates River away from the desert and creating lakes there. Instead, Aliawi stated that the lake that was constructed as a result of the dam had a length of 100 kilometers and a width of 8 kilometers, and it submerged the most notable ancient ruins that were located along the river. Only a select few items and monuments were spared throughout the destruction. As the water level continues to fall, he stated that many graves are located in this area, which is also thought to include hundreds of Syriac Christian monasteries. When the sun is shining and the water in the lake is clear, it is possible to make out the gravestones of the cemeteries that are still underwater. On the western part of Raqqa, a few cemeteries have been discovered on the right bank of the lake, but he stated that the left bank is rockier, making it harder to carry out excavating efforts. In July, as the waters of the Euphrates River began to recede in the city of Anna in Iraq, the ruins of the ancient city of Talbez were made visible. During the lowering of the water level in the Haditha Dam, an Iraqi archaeologist by the name of Mohammed Jassim reported the discovery of at least 80 previously submerged historical monuments. The Directorate of Antiquities in Dohuk, which is located in the Kurdish region of Iraq, made the announcement on June 6 that they had found a city that belonged to the Mitanni Empire and had been submerged for 3,400 years. The city was exposed when the waters of the Tigris River basin receded. Bex Privkani, the director of the Dohuk Department of Antiquities, stated on June 6 to reporters that the city, which was previously referred to as Zakiko, was referenced in Babylonian documents. He said that a palace and several other buildings were found, as well as a large fence and cuneiform texts. The medieval Hastek Castle, which can only be reached by boat, was exposed to the surface of the Keben Dam Lake on the Euphrates River in the Aegean area of eastern Turkey last year, as a result of the water level dropping in the lake caused by the Keben Dam. According to Korkmaz San, who serves as the dean of the history department at the Firat University in Turkey, it is thought that the castle was originally a temple that dates back to the time before the Christian era. During that time, he issued a statement to the press in which he revealed that the castle is carved into the rocks on 3 different levels and has Greek inscriptions on the walls of its interior. Saad Fanza, who worked at the National Museum of Damascus for nearly 30 years as the director of the Photographic Archive and the Documentary Archive of Syrian Antiquities, told Al Monitor, "The receding waterbed of the Euphrates River and the discovery of archaeological sites is not new. When the water level in the dam lake receded in the 1980s, comparable locations became visible again." In addition, he mentioned that one of the most significant sites that were submerged by the water of the Euphrates Dam when Lake Assad was constructed was the site of Muribet, a historic village mound going back to the Neolithic era. This discovery shed light on the evolution of agriculture in the region as well as the deification of women during this historical period. Fanza also said that the Tigris River runs from Turkey into Iraq, while the Euphrates River travels through both Syria and Iraq. As a result of the global drought, formerly submerged archaeological sites will continue to emerge in these countries. So be prepared for what we are going to witness next. So that was all about the video. Hope you find it informative. Then do subscribe to our channel, hit the like button, and press the bell icon for more updates like this. Thank you so much for watching our video today, and we will see you in our next amazing video.